Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Very, very disappointing Napoli Talk over here, guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see if I can bring the chat up into the window right now. All right, let's see, guys. Let's bring this chat up so I can read some of your comments. All right, there we go. The chat is up. There we go. Okay, what are you guys saying? Let me read first. All right, so Luigi Della Vecchia is saying, painful to watch, very painful, just painful. Exactly, guys. I struggled to watch that game. It was I struggled to stay awake for the first 70 minutes, and then when Torino scored, I struggled to watch the game because I saw no urgency in Napoli, and that hurts for me. That hurts. They're in the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. They're wearing the ceremonial shirt, the one that I had in the previous video. And when you put on that shirt, but just any Napoli shirt, when you have this badge on, then you've got to give it everything. You've got to sweat. You've got to put in the effort. I'm disappointed in the effort more than the performance. I'm disappointed in the effort and performance more than the result. So that's why I'm so down today. And but just one thing I like to say: at least I'm doing a live and we didn't lose. Okay, it's a draw. We didn't lose, which is better than it's better than the last 3 out of 4 lives that I did. So that's that. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Maximus is saying, what the fuck is going on with this team now? They deserve the loss today. Yeah, it's true. I wouldn't say we deserve the loss, guys. I think we deserve the draw. We definitely didn't deserve a win. We definitely, though, didn't deserve a loss. Torino never outplayed us. Torino never did anything. It's just that there were two broken teams is what I saw today. Torino, they were 19th before the game started. No sense of play. They are a one-man team. They've got Belotti. And that's why I think I'm so disappointed that we conceded a goal. Obviously, it wasn't a corner. But we conceded Belotti just throughout the game. Belotti was dominating his attack against our defense, basically, and it was just difficult to see with Maximovic and Manolas not able to contain him. What else are we saying here? Yeah, Boca Juniors saying at least we draw, which is correct. Ettore is saying another very disappointing performance. Yeah, it's true, another very disappointing one. Ever since Osimhen and then Mertens at the start against Inter were injured, we've just been performing very, very badly. And that's, guys, not a coincidence at all. Obviously, our midfield has a lot of difficulties creating something for our strikers. But at the same time, you have to remember that Mertens and Osimhen are two strikers that are very different from Petagna and Llorente that we saw today. They are strikers that like to go back into the midfield. They like to help out. They like to move around. And that's the team that Napoli have prepared over the summer. That's how we've prepared to play. And when we have to play with Petagna or Llorente in the last 10 minutes, then obviously all those different schematics fall apart. So it's a bit worrying because we've still got a few more games with Petagna up top. And it's just a shame really that both Osimhen and Mertens are out at the same time. In fact, what I'm thinking is, since we need a bit more skill, a bit more pace up top, would it not be worth having Lozano as a striker and then putting Politano on the right? And I know that means sacrificing a substitution, but guys, we cannot rely on changing the games with substitutions. We need to have 60, 70 minutes playing at the very best that we can at the moment. And I think maybe with Lozano up in attack, we can get that speed again, at least. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. There's a lot of comments, guys. Apologies if I don't read out every single comment. I try to get through most of them. Yeah, draw in the last game, in the last minutes against Torino. This is bad, really bad. What happened to this team? As I said, I think it's a lot down to Petagna playing instead of Osimhen and Mertens. A lot of it is because of Gattuso. Not only his choices, but the lack of renewal in his contract. The players and teams and the players and the team in general must be thinking, why hasn't Gattuso renewed? There's a lot of players on this team that have renewed their own contracts thinking that Gattuso would stay. They now are starting to question whether they made the right decision because Gattuso might not be staying. So, sorry guys, is there a problem with the mic? Let me turn that down. Is there a problem with the mic? Let's see. Guys, let me know if there's a problem with the mic, because I'm thinking there might be. Anyways, what else are you guys saying? What else are you guys saying here? Let's see. Politano as a ID Beats is saying Politano as a 10 against Milan did really well, deserves another try. Yeah, you know what? I actually agree with that. I think Politano didn't play too badly against Milan. I thought that he was actually really dangerous, got a lot of shots in. I don't think that's really the problem, because Zielinski's been doing really well in that position, and we've also got Elmas in that position. I don't think that's the issue. In fact, Zielinski was maybe one of our best players today. Definitely Zielinski and Insigne, man of the matches. Obviously, they linked up very well to get that goal in the end. And I haven't put up the player ratings because, to be honest, I don't feel like this team today deserves ratings. It's just one word, just awful, just awful. I wouldn't know how to quantify that, if it's a 3, a 4, a 2. Just awful. The only two players that saved themselves are Mertens and Zielinski, with obviously combining a little bit of trickery, but they actually put in the effort. They were running, they were getting into spaces. Let's see who else is here. Let's see. Anthony saying we can hear you fine. Okay, great. Because my screen's giving me some signals that the volume might be too high actually. So. And he's also saying that Gattuso out is a bit extreme. Yeah, I agree, that is extreme. But he needs to renew. He can't be in this limbo. I don't think we can necessarily kick him out, because we don't have a better option. There isn't. Who's on the market? Pochettino, 10 million a year. It's impossible, guys. Not for Napoli. Spalletti. What are we going to do with Spalletti? That's just going to guarantee potentially a top 4, but is he really that different from Gattuso? I'd rather stick to Gattuso, who's proven to us at least he's won something with the Coppa Italia, and he knows this team a bit more. Let's see who else. Llorente, Korean Bats is saying Llorente played good for only being in for like 20 minutes. That's true. 20 minutes played after 1 year is really, really good for Llorente. Obviously, he got a few half chances, wasn't really involved in anything greater than that, but at least he was a presence. That's what my problem is with Petagna. Completely null from Petagna. 0 today. But not just today, it was basically 0 against Lazio, it was basically 0 against Inter, and not just in attack. His pressing, the timings of his pressings were off. There were some occasions where Insigne and Politano were pressing Torino's defense and Petagna was far behind. And he's just not got the speed or stamina to keep doing that time and time again in a game. And for us, for the way Napoli play, he's just not a good enough striker. He's only good enough for the last 10-20 minutes if we need an extra goal. And that brings me to another point, guys. Why did Gattuso not just go all out in the last 10-20 minutes and keep Petagna? while having Llorente go 4-4-2 and just put balls into the box. Why didn't we do that? Why did we just keep Llorente as the only target up front? That's another thing that I don't understand. You're seeing that with Petagna being the only target man is not working. What is the use of bringing in Llorente to just do the same job? It would have made more sense to have them both, and then maybe you could have had a bit more situations in the box. So that's what I'm thinking Gattuso should have done there. What else are we saying? Ooh, KTK saying we want Sarri. Guys, I'm not a big fan of taking people back after such a bad way to end. It's not one of those happy endings where you've won everything and you're both happy to try different things. No, Sarri, he completely betrayed Napoli going to Juventus, left Napoli when really we needed him the most after such a good season. I don't think the majority of the fans would want that. But just because of the man that he is, not his game, obviously, if we can get Sarri ball back, that would be amazing for Napoli right now. What else are you guys saying? Visavis is saying, again, why do we always wait to concede before attacking? That's 100% true. But actually, not 100%, because I don't even think that we waited until the goal to start attacking. We just never attacked. We were 1-1, okay? 1-1, last 2 minutes of the game. I'm talking about the 94th minute. Di Lorenzo with the ball, long ball, and there's only Llorente and Lozano up top. 2 players with 2 minutes left. Guys, what happened to putting 6-7 people inside the box and ambushing the other team like that? Just piling on pressure. There was no hunger today, guys. That's what was missing. There was no hunger. As I said, they put on this shirt and they show no hunger. If there were fans outside that stadium today, they would be ashamed of this team. There would be boos all around. There's no respect from these players. The only players that saved themselves were Zielinski and Insigne. Everyone else needs to hang their heads in shame, guys. Honestly. It's frustrating, guys. It's frustrating because there's people out there that would kill for having the opportunity that these players have, and they show no desire, zero. And you'd think after Juventus lose 3-0, after you get your point back, after you're in contention for the title again, you'd think you'd go out there with a bit more fire in your belly. But I think this group of players, guys, technically they're one of the finest in Europe, but they don't have that fire. They don't have that. And I've said it in previous videos, we need someone like Ibra. We need more players with fire. We need more players like Insigne and Lozano that feel the game a bit more, because we're a bit too soft at times. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? Salvatore Di Brita is saying we have no offensive creativity, need someone who can create. Guys, I think a lot of it is down to Osimhen and Mertens not being available, because when you have Petagna and he can't contribute to the maneuver, then you're missing out a key link. Because let's not forget that a lot of the nice play that Napoli was doing was the 1-2s between Insigne, Osimhen, Mertens, Lozano, and they were switching positions and they were being dynamic, and Osimhen was creating the space for people to run into. We're missing that. And that is, it seems like it's a midfield problem, it seems like it's a number 10 problem, but actually, when you've got Osimhen as a striker, that's when everything starts clicking. So, unfortunately, we've got to wait. Unfortunately, Napoli did not have the hindsight to get a backup that suits Napoli's style. They got a backup in Petagna for in case what was happening with Osimhen wasn't working. but they don't have a backup in case Osimhen is injured and you need that same style of play. So maybe that's something we got to look into in the transfer window, even if it's just some young striker, just someone that can split open a defense, someone that can stretch it out. That's what we need, guys. Let's see, what else are you guys saying? Daniel Bowen is saying that game was just... I lost that message. He's saying, I didn't see anybody play with heart, including Insigne and Zielinski. Guys, I think Insigne and Zielinski played with heart. They kept going until the 96th minute. They got the 1-1. Zielinski was trying everything he could, guys, but he was completely alone. And that's unfortunately the case over the last few games now. It just seems like it's a Zielinski show. If Zielinski's doing well, then Napoli does okay. If Zielinski's doing bad, we're inexistent, like against Lazio. Fabrizio is saying, Napoli is again and again tired and unlucky. We had to win this match. I'm angry. Yes, that's another good point, guys. We are a very, very tired team right now. Okay, we've had a lot of games. Obviously, that's not an excuse when you're playing against other top teams that have the Champions League and Europa League, but we've had a lot more injury situations than these teams. We've had Osimhen out, we've had Mertens out, we've had Insigne out, we had Lozano kind of out for today. He was out maybe 1 or 2 games. Politano was out 1 or 2 games. We had Elmas and Zielinski out for coronavirus. We have Demme, who's injured again. Demme was supposed to be key today. He's injured. We had Bakayoko, who was disqualified for 1 game, injured for a little bit. Guys, it's been a tough... Obviously, Koulibaly was out today. It's been a tough year for injuries for Napoli. But you'd think a team like Napoli has enough quality in their backups to still produce something, guys. Anyways, before I go on, guys, smash that like button and subscribe to Napoli Talk if you're not subscribed. Thank you to everyone that's joining. It seems to be more and more people joining every live session. That's great. I honestly can't even keep up with the chats anymore. And guys, I made an Instagram. It's a bit more lighthearted than maybe some of the videos I do. There's going to be a few memes. There was a meme about Juventus dropping points yesterday. Guys, if you want to laugh, if you want to have some few content here and there, maybe the content that's not enough for a single video, then go ahead and check out the Instagram. It's called Official Napoli Talk, okay? Official Napoli Talk. That's because there's other Napoli Talks out there which are not the real guys, okay? There's just one. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let me get rid of this banner because it's a bit distracting for you guys. Well, actually, no. Let me put the banner, and yeah, let me get rid of it later. Just remind you guys to like and subscribe. Let's see, 22 likes. Come on, guys. There's 42 of you here. Let's get that like count higher. Let's see what else we got. Maximus is saying, before I die, I need to see Napoli win a Scudetto. I've seen every other team win. I want this just once. Yeah, guys. Honestly, I don't know. Look, I don't know how old you are, Maximus. I hope you've got a few more years in you, but you know, knock wood. But I do think Napoli is going to win a Scudetto. I do think it's going to happen in our lifetime. It's not guaranteed, guys. In 90 years of history, we won it twice. So there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they're 30, turning 30 this year, and they haven't seen a Scudetto. And there's a lot of people before Maradona that never saw it. So, you know, it's not guaranteed, guys. But, you know, this club, even though we have these moments, this club is progressing, it's growing. We're within a fight. We have a fighting chance year after year. So let's, you know, it might not be this year. I accept that. You know, if we take a look at the table right now, take a look at the table, guys, I fully accept it might not be this year. I mean, we're 5th. We've got 25 points. Milan have 34. They managed to win in the end. They were tying a 92nd minute goal from Teo Hernandez to jump over Inter. And the two Milan teams are running away with this, 34, 33 points. And we're stuck at 25. We've obviously got a game in hand, so potentially 28. But guys, it's not an easy game. It's against Juventus. Juventus with 24 points. And yeah, so potentially we go to 28. And then we're 6 points behind. We lost 3-1 against Milan. So we don't have a very good head-to-head against them, which is going to penalize. So it's as if we would be 7 points behind. Obviously, that is if we win against Juventus. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy. Milan have a few tough games. They've still got Juve and Atalanta to play. But, you know, it's a difficult situation, guys. And yeah, it's really not easy. It's really not easy for us. But let's go back to the game, guys. Let's look at what went wrong for Napoli here. And you can see 65% possession. That's roughly the same amount that we had against Inter, roughly the same amount that we had against Lazio. 630 passes. That's almost precisely what we had against Lazio. Really good passing accuracy. But this tells you something. When you have 630 passes and your passing accuracy is 90%, what does that tell you? That tells you you're not risking enough. Because there is no way a team that attacks consistently, that is doing 630 passes, has a 90% pass accuracy. The only way you can get that passing accuracy is if you're playing in the back. And you're playing sideways, and you're playing backwards, and you're going to Maksimovic and Manolas, and Maksimovic and Manolas, and Fabian and Manolas, and Fabian and Maksimovic. That's what Napoli does, guys. So that's how you get 90% accuracy, and that's a key thing. Sometimes people say 90% accuracy, that's great. No, not when you have 631 passes and you've only scored 1 goal. So, you know, stats, they can be a bit misleading at times. The way you interpret them based on the context of the game is everything, guys. So there you go, little math lesson by Napoli Talk about how to interpret stats. Some of you may know I'm an engineer, so sometimes my geekiness comes out at times. What else is going on here? What else is the chat saying? Let's see what you guys have in mind. Lorenz is saying there's no easy games in Serie A. That's true. We did play against Torino, who were 19th, but Torino had everything to play for as well, guys. Playing against a team that is 19th is almost more difficult than playing against a team that's 12th, 11th, 10th. Those teams that have nothing to play for anymore. They're too far away from Europe. They're safe enough from relegation. They've got nothing going on. When you play against Torino, you got to be switched on. You got to think this team is a team that's down, but they want to go up. And Torino is not a bad team, guys. Torino was nowhere near relegation last season. Honestly, it's quite remarkable, actually, that Italy's maybe second best striker is playing in that team. It's just crazy. It's crazy how Torino are in that situation, guys. So Lorenz is right. Let's remember the context of Serie A. What else are we guys saying? And Lorenz is also saying, very good point, Napoli need fullbacks more than anything else. I didn't see a single good cross. That is so true, guys. That is so true. We have Petagna, we had Llorente, not one good cross. Not one good overlap. Di Lorenzo and his eyes seemed completely lost, guys, completely lost. They were just in no man's land. And this has to be, though, the club's fault. I was just discussing this during the game, actually, and I was saying how Napoli have invested heavily in strikers. Napoli have invested heavily in some midfielders, in some center backs. You know, you've got the Manolas of 36 million. You've got the Maksimovic 25. You've got obviously Osimhen 80 million. And then you look at the fullbacks. Gulam 5 million. Isai 5 million. Di Lorenzo 8 million. So there's obviously something going on there. This Napoli as a club is not investing in fullbacks. is not dedicating enough resources to that. But they don't understand that if you don't dedicate resources to your fullbacks, then how are the strikers going to perform? How are they going to get the service that they need? What are you going to do with an 80 million striker if you don't have good crosses in the box? It's like saying you have a Ferrari and then you go and buy second-hand wheels. Guys, that's not how things work. So there's a bit of disparity there, and I think Lorenz brings a good point. The fullbacks need improving. I've said time and time again that I don't think Mario Rui should start. I think we need a better left back, and this is where I think Gattuso, guys, made a huge mistake today. He started Insigne. Insigne coming back from COVID, hasn't played since then. All of a sudden, you expect him to play 90 minutes. Obviously, he couldn't. So obviously, Insigne only lasted 70. In that case, why did you play Insigne if you're going to substitute him and not Goulam? Because we said the disadvantage of Goulam is that he's a forced substitution, as in you play Goulam and you know you're going to have to substitute him after 60, 70 minutes, okay? Because he's just not match fit. But if you're going to do that with Insigne anyways, you might as well play Goulam. I'd take Goulam over Insigne any day of the week, especially we came from 2 games where we scored 0 goals, guys. We scored 0 against Inter, 0 against Lazio. This was the game against Torino, second last, where you say, right, boys, a good 3-0 today. 4, 5, 6 goals, go grab them. Instead, what do? You give off the wrong signal. You play Insigne, who's defensive. What's the point of that? Why are you playing a defensive fullback against Torino instead of Goulam? Try to get crosses in for Petagna. So this is where I think Gattuso is struggling. This is where I think he's starting to make a few mistakes. I haven't been that convinced by his decisions over the last month. Basically, ever since I made that video about why Napoli should sign Gattuso, he's been messing up a lot of his starting 11. And unfortunately, the substitutions that he's made are not as effective anymore, and they don't really seem to be making a lot of sense anymore. As I said, I think maybe Llorente should have come on with Petagna in a 4-4-2, get crosses into the box, create a bit of havoc. And that's really how we scored our goal. We put in a cross with Fabian, came to Zielinski, beautiful layoff to Insigne, and Insigne scored. But it all started with a cross inside the box. So, when you don't have that thing going on in the middle, then that's what you've got to do. Let's see what else you guys are saying here, because I think some of you are talking about corners once again and set pieces and all that. Let's see what else. Let's see. Vesavis is saying Di Lorenzo is okay defensively, but he has a problem when he's asked to go forward. Guys, I think Di Lorenzo is a bit of a strange one, because the first 6 months of Ancelotti, he was brilliant going forward. Brilliant defensively, brilliant going forward. So we know he's capable. Something's happened, and I think this has to do with who he has in front. So cast your mind back to more than a year ago when we had Callejon as a right wing. Okay, Callejon as a right wing, he never went all the way down to the touchline. He always stopped between the end of the field and the middle. Okay, so that means that Di Lorenzo had those extra 20 meters of space to run into. And Callejon was very good at passing to the midfielder and not carrying the ball so much. This means that Di Lorenzo had the freedom and space, and Callejon created the movement, and the ball was moving in such a way that Di Lorenzo could exploit those spaces. Now we have Lozano and Politano on the right. Now these two players, while they are very good going forward more than Callejon, they have the issue that they carry the ball. They carry the ball quite a bit, they slow the tempo down, the spaces reduce around them, and they like to go down the wing. That means Di Lorenzo has nowhere to run into. The only time Di Lorenzo has somewhere to run into is when Politano has the ball, goes down and then cuts in and then passes it back to Di Lorenzo. That's the only time Di Lorenzo is able to go down that wing. But other than that, he's stuck. He's stuck. If Lozano has the ball on the right, he's stuck. So it has a lot to do with that, guys. So it's a bit about sacrificing Di Lorenzo and giving a bit more attacking power and responsibility to the right winger, as opposed to what we had with Callejon last season. Let's see. Gurkan is saying, what about Malquit? Yeah, Malquit, another one, 7 million only. He got injured, ruptured ACL. We really don't know if Malquit is able to go to the same level that he was starting to show when he started playing for Napoli, because Malquit never really got going with Napoli. He played for a few months and then got injured. And guys, when you rupture your ACL, it's a big injury. It affects you mentally. It affects you physically. We saw it with Gulam. We saw it with Milik. I have that injury. It affects you, okay? It's not easy to go back to the same level. It's not simple. So it's not FIFA, guys, is what I'm trying to say. It's you don't know these players, how they're going to respond to these injuries. And I think that if Gattuso is not playing Gulam, if he's not playing Milik, if he's not playing Malquit, a lot of it has to do with obviously this type of injury, and it's not every player can recover well from that. Let's see what else we are saying. Yeah, Daniel saying Gulam should have played. He has good crosses. Exactly. I don't see why Gulam was not playing. We haven't scored in games now. What you need is someone that can cross it like Gulam. Vasavis is saying, can Insigne just leave already? He's useless, worse than having no one. Am I wrong? Yes. I said, no, you're not wrong. Insigne is useless. In fact, he's a liability. There's not many players out here that are a liability, but Insigne is definitely one of them. And look, he doesn't have that much responsibility for Torino's goal. But because he was marking his own man, but there was someone that was free in and around where he was marking. He could have done a bit better. He could have been more aware. An experienced player like Insigne needs to communicate with other players on the field and say, look, there's someone there. If I have to cover in the middle, then I need to tell someone to go and cover the person that's free in behind me. You got to communicate in football. It seems like this team is not communicating. What else? What else are we saying? Do any of you, Maximus is saying, do any of you think this team would be any different if Ancelotti got his Jamie? As in James Rodriguez, guys. That is a train from Yuma that never passed, okay? James Rodriguez, I think, would have been a great player for Napoli. He obviously got injured at Real Madrid last season, so a lot of people are saying, oh, he would have been injured. Guys, if he was at Napoli, it would have been another set of training sessions. It would have been another set of games. He might not have gotten injured. I think James would have been a great player. He proved it with Everton at the start of the season that he still got it. And I think he would have been fantastic for Napoli. He's a good version of Fabian, a world-class version of Fabian when he's playing at his top. But I don't think Napoli's issue is one player necessarily. I mean, yes, we did talk about Osimhen, we did talk about Mertens missing. That's one player, 2 players. But I think the problem with Napoli is general. There's a mentality issue at Napoli. There's a lack of spirit at Napoli. It's almost as if they're content to be above Juventus, guys. Napoli are seeing this table, in my opinion, and they're happy. Because we've always just told ourselves we need to beat Juventus, we need to beat Juventus, we need to beat Juventus. And then when we finally are above Juventus, it's almost as if we're happy. But we're not first. And it's a mentality that other teams that haven't won much have. It's a bit like Tottenham. They're just happy that they're above Arsenal, that they're above Chelsea. But then they go and they lose the Premier League to Leicester a few years ago. You know, these are the type of teams that lack a winning mentality. They focus on one enemy and then they lose sight of the bigger picture. So yeah, I mean, it might not be the case, but that's what I think, guys. Anyways, if you are still watching this, I appreciate that. smash that like button. We go on because there's a lot of people in the chat, but just want to remind you, smash that like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, guys, especially because, to be honest with you guys, the channel's been a bit more slow in growth over the last month, but the engagement from those that have tuned in has been phenomenal, and thank you. I really am enjoying this and discussing games with you guys, and as I said, at least we didn't lose this time, but honestly it feels like a loss because Torino should have buried them. But yeah, disappointing, and also disappointing that Milan got that 92nd minute winner as well. Alessio Lucchini is saying we need our strikers back, 100%. No other team is playing with their two main strikers injured. I mean, what would happen to Juventus if you take away Ronaldo and Morata? What would happen to Milan if you take away Leao and Ibra? What would happen to Inter if you take away Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez? What would happen to Roma if you take away Dzeko and Pedro? Guys, no other team is playing consistently without their two strikers, and it just seems like for us this is going to be the case for at least another 2 weeks or 2 games, which is a big problem for Napoli. Anyways, let me get rid of, you guys have smashed that like button. I've seen that count go up. Keep doing that if you're liking the video. I'm gonna get rid of the banner because it might be distracting, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And Pietro is saying we need a return of Sarri. Pietro Baldini, guys, Sarri is, you guys are just gonna keep saying that, aren't you? You guys are just gonna insist with Sarri. Guys, Sarri is a happy memory, but I just can't see this working out a second time. And Sarri, he went to Chelsea. He went to Juventus. Was he able to replicate what he did with Napoli? Okay, he won a Scudetto with Juve. He won a Europa League with Chelsea. But guys, those teams are out of this world with the financial ability that they have, with the players that they have. They didn't win because of their football. They won because of the players that they already had. They would have won with any manager. So I don't think Sarri necessarily can replicate what he did with Napoli again because the players are different. I mean, yes, you've still got Insigne, you've still got Zielinski, you've still got Koulibaly. But other than that, guys, it's a different team. It's 60% different, 80% if we consider the substitutes, and the team itself just, it hasn't got that same type of style. We're missing Jorginho, we're missing Hamsik, those were the key guys. We're missing Allan. Guys, some of you forget that Zielinski was a substitute back in the day with Sarri because we were playing Jorginho, Hamsik, and Allan, and these 3 players are missing. And I don't see us going and finding another Hamsik. Maybe you could say Zielinski is that, fine, fair enough, but where have we got another Jorginho? We just don't. We don't have another Allan. So maybe Demme, maybe, but I just can't see it. And then we had a monster in attack, Higuain, and this is becoming a throwback video, but guys, we had Higuain there that was just incredible in his final year at Napoli, and then we had Mertens, who was at his peak. And we don't know if we have that kind of striker anymore. We've got Osimhen, we've bought him, he's promising, but can he actually deliver? We've seen him in 5-6 games, maybe a bit more, 7-8 games. We've seen him. He scored 1 goal. So he's young. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying that, guys. But I'm saying if Sarri comes, are we sure he's going to get a team that can deliver? It's all to be seen, guys. It's all to be seen. What else are we saying? Fernando Jimenez is saying, hope that next year Osimhen, Mertens, Lozano, and Insigne become a very dangerous offense. Guys, that is the objective. That is the objective, to have those front 4 Maybe have Zielinski play in the two in midfield alongside Demme. And then that would be the perfect team, in my opinion. Drop Zielinski back, bench Fabian, bench Bakayoko. Bakayoko's a good player, guys. Bakayoko is good, but super inconsistent. First off, super unreliable because he's going to give away bad fouls. He's going to get red carded twice a season. And he just alternates between doing some really good stuff and then just bad fouls. Just silly fouls. Whereas Demme is a lot better at making... He also does fouls, but they're not as stupid as Bakayoko's, in my opinion. I think when Demme fouls someone, it's because it's a tactical foul. He means to do it, whereas Bakayoko just seems to go in a bit clumsy at times. ID Beats is saying Tagliafico costs 40 million. No, guys, Tagliafico, if you put in an offer now for 20 million, it's a done deal. It's a done deal, and he would give so much to this Napoli team, Tagliafico. For anyone that doesn't know, that's Ajax left back, Champions League experience, Argentine international, very good player, very, very good. What else are we saying? Guys, the chat, I can't keep up with the chat. You guys are, I don't know if you guys are just super mad or probably. Anthony is saying, let's read what Anthony is saying. He was away in the previous chat, in the previous live, but he's back and he's got a lot to say, so let's see what he's saying. Demme and Alan are comparable. Yep, that's what I was thinking as well. A bit different, but a little bit. And then he's saying we shouldn't have drawn today, plain and simple. Baka loses balls and fouls too much. Fabian we should sell in January, and we could use the money from Real. Fabian needs to go. But guys, who's gonna buy Fabian? Do you think Barcelona and Real Madrid are still interested in Fabian after his performances in the last 6 months? Don't you think a team like Real Madrid or Barcelona would much rather buy a player is on the up instead of a player that they need to recover mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? Fabian, there's so much wrong with Fabian at the moment. It's actually ridiculous. I wouldn't even know what he needs. Does he need a therapist? Does he need a athletic coach? Does he need a mental coach? Does he need a football coach? I don't know what's wrong with Fabian right now, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone knows something about what's wrong with Fabian. Maybe something's going on in his personal life, but he just seems the shell of himself over the last 6 months. Anthony is saying 45 million drops from 80. Yeah, and Lawrence is saying Barcelona Real Madrid would 100% buy. Maybe from his Spain performance. I think a lot will depend on the European tournament that we have obviously coming up in July. We have the Euros 2021. Fabian is guaranteed to go with that Spain team. He plays well with Spain. If he has a good tournament, then yes, Real Madrid and Barcelona will buy him, or will want to buy him. And I think for 45 million, Napoli should sell. For 60, 80, it would be the deal of the decade. But a lot depends on the Euros, guys. Obviously, Fabian, I don't think he can. He has a future at Napoli if he does another 6 months like he did now. Unless maybe we get a different coach. That's the only other way I think Fabian can recover, is if maybe we change coach, and with a new coach he's got a different playing style and Fabian can express himself better. But I just don't see it. Maybe it's the style of football in Italy that just doesn't quite suit him as much as the style in Spain. And Visavis is saying, yes, he's become worse since they were interested. That's true. Probably Fabian is playing not to get injured, and basically just very disinterested, because I can't explain it. Ever since he was linked to these teams, then that's it. Fabian basically stopped playing. And that's another thing. These players, they're 22, 23. They're a lot of you guys are older than that in the chat, and these are kids, guys. I mean, that's basically my age. These are kids. They have ups and downs. They see their names associated to Real Madrid, Barcelona. They lose their heads. And football it's as much as what you have in your legs as what you have in your head. So unfortunately, with the Napoli players, it seems to be a big issue. A lot of people see this as a stepping stone, and a lot of players just don't have other players. So there's players that see this as a stepping stone to the Reals, to the Barcelonas, and other players, they see Napoli as too much pressure. You've got the Petagnas that are struggling, so you've got this imbalance here where it's hard to find that player that is just 100% completely in his zone in Napoli. Someone like Zielinski, someone like Insigne, someone like Mertens. There's very few that I think like that. Let's see what else. Guys, some of you need to improve on that grammar, guys. It's hard to read some of what you guys are saying. I'm kidding, guys. Thank you so much for being in this chat. Anthony is saying, I think Fabian places a number 10 for Spain. Yeah, it depends. It depends what formation Spain play. Spain, as some of you know, they're very fluid. Sometimes you've got a false 9, sometimes you've got an actual 9, sometimes they play 4-3-3, sometimes they play 4-2-3-1. Fabian's been playing in all the different positions with Spain. I saw a few games, and he seems to just be in his zone wherever they put him. So yeah, I think, guys, a lot of the times you can't really judge a player just artificially like we do. Sometimes the players that's around him also affects his performance. Pasi is saying, are you Italian? Yes, I'm from Naples. I'm in Naples now. Obviously for the holidays, I'm kind of stuck. Oh, guys, I told you guys in the previous videos that I was going to do a whole video about the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. So, funny story, I've come back from the UK, and the governor here in Campania, where Naples is, basically said anyone coming from the UK, even if they're negative, I just did a second test this morning, I'm negative. He said that they have to quarantine for 14 days, so I can't go to the stadium until technically the 1st of January, but Italy is in lockdown, strict lockdown, and so I might get a chance on the 4th of January, but if not, then it will have to be the summer, guys. I'm sorry about that, but I'll make other videos, and there will be one about the t-shirt, the one that I was wearing in the previous video, the striped one. I'll compare that to a replica jersey, the white one that I have, if some of you have been watching some of my earlier videos, and I'll just compare the materials, the fit, where I bought them, the process, what I think of the shirt, because I think a lot of you have questions about that. They're very expensive shirts, and a lot of you want to know first-hand experience of someone that has both a replica and the official match jersey, what the different shirts feel like, look like, and whether it's worth going for that extra one or not. So I think it's going to be a useful video, and I'll try to do it in one of these days that I have a bit more time since I'm at home. So yeah, that's coming up quite soon. Lawrence is saying, I'll pay for plane ticket for Fabian to come to the UK so that Mo Farah can teach Fabian how to run. The guy is so slow, guys. Mo Farah is it's a bit ambitious. It's a bit ambitious for Fabian. Mo Farah, for anyone that doesn't know, is an Olympic champion in marathon or was it like 10K, 5K, something like that. So yeah, guys, that's a bit ambitious for Fabian. We're not asking him that, but we're just asking him to do a little bit more, And in fact, I'm gonna make an Instagram post about Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but Fabian's going to be there, and I'm going to make fun of him a little bit about being slow. So make sure you follow that Instagram, official Napoli Talk on Instagram, not the other Napoli Talks. They're fakes that came before me on Instagram, but after I made this YouTube. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. There's a lot of people trying to steal that name, but yeah. So that's why I repeat it. Official Napoli Talk. Daniel is saying, at this point, we just need to stay in the hunt for the Champions League, and come February, we should be at full strength to go for the Europa League trophy. Yeah, guys, I think it's safe to say, for anyone that's joining late, I think it's safe to say that the goal right now is definitely 4th spot. We've got that game in hand. We're maybe going to go on 28 points if we win it, 26 if we tie. So, 3rd, 4th place. Sassuolo can't keep this up. Look at their recent form, guys. Look at Sassuolo. Loss, draw, win, draw, loss. Okay? That just shows to you that Sassuolo had a very good start, and now they're dropping. Now they're the Sassuolo that we all know, the mid-table Sassuolo. Okay? Whereas, look at Inter, guys. 5 wins in a row. Milan, win, draw, draw, win, win. That's consistency. And then you've got Roma, that are a bit up and down, Napoli up and down, Juventus up and down, Atalanta are starting to come back a little bit, Lazio up and down. So really, it's, I think, Inter and Milan, the first two. Inter obviously don't even have Champions League to worry about, and then after that, it's the rest, the other teams. It's just about who can build some momentum, who can have a run of 4 or 5 games. And I think that, Napoli, this, touch wood, but this is probably the worst patch of the season. I can't see it going downhill from here, especially once Osimhen starts coming back, Mertens starts coming back, Lozano's fit again. So yeah, we just have to stick to this for now. And yeah, Rico is saying, what do you think about the Napoli Primavera? It's inexistent, guys. It's inexistent. Napoli Primavera has no talents. No talents, guys. There's Gaetano, who's in Serie B, and everyone else, it's just, we're not producing. I made a video about this. So if you look at the video that's called what if Napoli was only made out of Neapolitans, okay? At the end of that video, I talk about, well, why aren't we made up of players only from Naples? 3rd biggest city in Italy, millions of people around the city. Basically, the biggest club in the south, biggest city in the south, that's half of Italy right there. How come we don't have more southern Italian players playing for Napoli? What's happening? Where are they going? And it's basically because we don't have the infrastructure, guys. We don't have the quality of the youth system. We don't have an infrastructure. We don't have any of that. So it's a shame. It's a shame. The only few players that came out of there were Sepe, Insigne, Gaetano might. He's in Serie B. Who knows? But yeah, our youth academy is quite poor. And that's why we never play any of them, which is a very big shame. Let me transition out of the screen. I hate watching that. Watching us 5th. We were 3rd up until a few hours ago. We had a great opportunity to put pressure onto Milan and Inter, but we didn't win the game. And Anthony's saying I would take Gomez, guys. Gomez, I think, is going to Juve or Milan. I don't think Gomez is something that Napoli is looking into, just because we don't really need another number 10. So, but what a good player. What a good player he is. Anyways, guys. I'm not even sure how long, guys. I've been going for 54 minutes, and there's still some of you that are here. Thank you so much, guys. It's honestly crazy that after 54 minutes of me rambling, there's still some of you here. One thing that I forget to always say is also in the description, there's a link to the Discord. Guys, a lot of the people that are on this chat, or should I say on this chat, are from the Discord. Nice guys, friendly people, guys and girls. And guys, they talk about football, they talk about Napoli, literally 24/7. Even I can't keep up. So go follow that Discord and make sure you check out all the other links in there. There's the link to the Instagram, link to my Twitter. I make a few random tweets about Napoli here and there. Some go viral, some a bit less, but it's almost daily. And there's the Instagram that I started 2 days ago. I'm going to try to put in effort into that one. I'm going to try to give you guys some good content there, some funny memes every once in a while. And I think you guys will like it. So if you haven't already done all that, then, smash that like button, go on these links, sign up to everything, tattoo Napoli talk everywhere. So yeah, guys, go ahead and do that. I really, really appreciate you guys. And guys, what else are you guys saying? The chat is still going. An hour later, guys, one day I'm gonna have to set up a call-in where I give maybe a minute to everyone that calls, and that way it's not just me talking and rambling, and I can give you guys an actual voice, like the voice in the channel, and you guys can call in and say what you feel about the game, and we can have a one-on-one about that for a minute or two, and then go on to the next caller, a bit like a radio station, because I just love seeing what you guys have to say every single time here. Okay, what else are you guys saying? Diego Luongo is saying, what do you think about Mertens being the captain? Guys, I mean, Mertens, why would you... Diego, you need to explain that, because I don't think anyone is really thinking of taking that captaincy away from Insigne right now. So I think he's a good vice captain. Obviously, him and Koulibaly would be the two vice captains. I wouldn't put it on Mertens, to be honest. I think it's good that we have someone like Insigne from Naples captaining Napoli. Obviously, we saw that Insigne can sometimes lose his head, but I don't think we really, that's the biggest issue for Napoli at the moment. But Mertens, you've got also a good point. He's Napoli's all-time leading goal scorer, never had any issues with us, but I just, Insigne, you can't really take that away from Insigne and expect Insigne to stay at Napoli, is what I'm trying to say. Insigne would never accept that. The only time someone from the city like Insigne would give that captain armband away is if he's leaving the club, or you've got someone as good as Maradona coming in. If we got a Lionel Messi, I'm sure Insigne would take that off and put it on Messi himself. But other than that, guys, I don't think Insigne is going to give that armband to anyone. So that's just my opinion. Anyways, guys, I think there's still 32. You guys want me to go on, don't you? You guys want me to go on? I will go on as long as there are 25 people on this. So right now, probably all of you are just gonna leave so that I close. But until there's more than 25, I'm gonna keep going with your questions and comments. Politano as a number 10. As I said, played great against Milan. Actually got a bit of abuse from some people after the Milan game. I thought he did well, but actually, I don't think he's a bad number 10. The thing is that if you put Politano as a number 10, then what do you do with Zielinski? Then Zielinski you would have to put in the two-man midfield, and actually between doing that and just keeping him in a number 10, I'd rather keep him on the number 10. I think if it was Mertens there with Osimhen as up top, then that's a different story, because then everybody would be, I think, in their most ideal position up in attack. But Politano is still quite adapted as a number 10. Napoli spams L2 is saying #Petagna out. Guys, I wouldn't necessarily say Petagna out necessarily, okay? Let's give him time. Let's give him a bit more months, but definitely as a sub. and that's not his fault. He didn't, guys. He didn't sign in to be a starter. No one wanted him as a starter. De Laurentiis doesn't want him as a starter. Giuntoli, Gattuso, no one wants him as a starter, guys. He was there as third choice, behind Osimhen, behind Mertens, and then him. And unfortunately, he has to start, and it's not going that well for Napoli at the moment because he's had 2 goals. He's had a few appearances for Napoli now. Must be more than 10. Obviously, some off the bench, some as a starter. If you include the Europa League ones, it's probably around 12, 13 appearances, and he's just had the 2 goals, hasn't really convinced. Great at recovering the balls in the middle, but doesn't contribute much when we're in attack. Seems to just stick around in the box a bit like Milik used to do. What do you guys... Okay, let's give Diego the opportunity to explain. Diego says, Insigne sometimes is a little bit too emotional. Even last season you saw Cajon telling Insigne to keep your head up. That's true. Insigne is a bit emotional. He feels the games quite a lot. He takes Napoli very seriously, very personally. We saw that against Inter, and that's true. That's true. But what I'm saying is, now that he is captain, you can't take that away from him. That would ruin him at Napoli. There's no way Insigne would be able to have a smile on his face ever again in Naples if he wasn't captain. We would have to sell him. It's a bit like Icardi. When Inter took away the captaincy from Icardi, who's not even from Milan, but when they took that away from Icardi, the dressing room split in half. You're going to have the pro Icardis against Icardi, you're going to have the pro Insigne against Insigne, and at that point you're going to have a split changing room. You don't want that, and then you're forced to sell Insigne, and he just scored a goal today, guys. Why would Napoli want to do that? Okay, and Jorge is saying, do you think we can still win the league? It all depends on that game against Juventus. It all depends on that, and it depends on the next 2 or 3 games, guys, because the 2 or 3 games that remain are key. They're key because they're going to be still without Osimhen, still without Mertens. If we can win those games, then we can maybe push on and get through our rough patch, wait for Inter Milan to have their own rough patch, and then things go up. But if we keep dropping points, guys, if we drop just 2 more points or 1 more point in the next 2 games, then I think that's it, guys. I don't think this team will recover mentally. Mathematically, everything is possible, but mentally they won't recover, guys. Is Tottenham's Carlos Vinicius still an option for us? Like, wasn't he on loan from us? Vinicius, no, Vinicius is not an option for us. So he was on loan to Benfica. So we bought him, never played for us, went on loan to Benfica, or actually went on loan to some other team, then on loan to Benfica, then Benfica bought him, and then they sold him on. But he's not really an option for us. Obviously, Napoli would need to buy him again. But it's one of those things, right? Napoli had this really promising striker. You could compare him to Osimhen, really, like style of play. And then they just decided never to play him, just sold him for peanuts, really. 15, 17 million. I think Benfica sold him for at least double that. So a bit short-sighted from Napoli. Obviously, they made a big profit there, even with the 15, 17 million. But they could have done a bit more, for sure. Anyways, guys, that is everything. We are well past the hour. And yeah, it's quite late. It's midnight here. Thank you for joining on the live chat, even though we drew the game. It wasn't a good performance, but you guys obviously are, the best Napoli fans out there, supporting, even if we draw, still hopeful for the league. Some of you, obviously there's a bit of resentment with a few players. That's understandable, guys, but there's the next game against Cagliari after Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a good holiday, and enjoy your time. Stay safe, all that, and we'll see each other in the next video. And as always, guys, Forza Napoli sempre.